Welcome, my dear students of class 11 to this English class with me, your tutor, Atinyo Sekose. So this lesson is going to be a very general topic discussion here. What we are going to discuss is about rhyme and rhythm. And this is something that is not new to you, I am sure, but we are going to find out what is that rhyme and rhythm that we found in the last discussed topic, that is, why can't a woman be more like a man? And in fact, I hope you would also use this lesson to compare it to some of the poems that we have discussed so far and try to identify whether we have a rhyme or rhythm or not in those poetries as well. And I hope you would also be able to use this understanding of this rhyme and rhythm in your writing as well, be it whether you are writing a poetry or whether you are writing a song and so on. In fact, if you are a big fan of those singers who usually, songwriters and singers who usually rhyme up their lyrics, you would find this lesson quite interesting. So let's have a look at this. You would find it on page 62. On page 62. So first of all, we need to understand, our question here is, study the table on the different kinds of rhyme, then pick out instances of as many kinds as possible from the poem. So the poem here is in reference to that poem that is, why can't a woman be more like a man? Now, first of all, we need to understand what kinds of or different kinds of rhyme that we would be finding. But before we move on to that, we need to understand what is a syllable. So a syllable is the smallest unit of sound, such as, take the example of this syllable. How many sounds do you hear when I say that? I'm sure, I'll give you an example here. Syllable, when I say it in that way, if you count it, I'm sure you are able to count 3 sounds. So we are getting here 1, 1, that's 3 syllables. And when we discuss about whether it is masculine rhyme or feminine or dactylic and so on, we would be referring to this syllable and whether it is the first syllable or second syllable or third syllable and so on. So I hope you would be able to differentiate it in this manner. The word is structured in such a way that it is also structured according to, in most cases, according to the sound. So here we have 3 syllables and we would use this example in reference to what we have to discuss now. So under perfect rhymes, what do we mean when we say perfect rhymes? In these kind of cases, we have 2, in fact, masculine, feminine, and dactylic, 3 perfect rhymes here. So that's what we are going to discuss. If you can take a look into your text, masculine here, I'll read it out. The stress is on the final syllable of the word. So when we say the final syllable, taking the example of this word syllable here, the final syllable is this. So that would be our final syllable. Now, we have an example here, rhyme and sublime. So in this case here, when I say rhyme, I'm sure you are able to make 2 sounds here, even though it is 1 word. So it becomes tricky here. You have to count according to the sounds and not the letters formation in the word. Now, sublime, we have 2 here. So what do we mean when we say masculine? The stress is on the final syllable. In this word, which one is the final syllable? I'm sure the final syllable or sound here is the rhyme sublime. We are not pronouncing the E letter here. So this is a masculine rhyme. So when we are stressing, what do we mean when we stress here? Stress here is again in reference to the sound of the letters. If we are prolonging the sound, that becomes the stress. So you cannot simply say rhyme and then quit. So it has to be prolonged. So rhyme and sublime. So in that way, you are stressing. So when the stress is on the last syllable, that's when it becomes the masculine rhyme, or we can also say it is a perfect rhyme. Now let's move on to the second one, that is feminine rhyme. What does it say? The stress is on the second last syllable of the words. We have here the example, picky or sticky, and so on. Picky, tricky, and so on. So here in this example, which one is the feminine rhyme here? The stress is on the second last syllable. If we count it, 1, 2, that's one syllable, two syllable, second last. So this is the last syllable. So this becomes your feminine rhyme. Now, I hope you would not get confused with the masculine rhyme here. The stress is no doubt here, but in this case, remember, we do not have the exact syllable that we can count. We are counting according to the sounds here, and that's what you would find here. The stress is on the second last syllable of the words. So picky, tricky, or sticky, and so on. So that's what we have here. So this is the very similar when it comes to masculine and feminine, but you would find that feminine rhyme here, it is more clear, whereas in the case of masculine, you would find that you have to be careful with the counting of the syllable. Do not get misled into just taking a look at it as a single word with a single sound. That is not the case here. We have here the stress, and here is the stress. So that's the difference there. Now, the third one under perfect rhyme here is dectalic. So now let's move on to the dectalic here, and in our text here it says the stress is on the third last syllable. Now the next one, syllabic, general rhymes here. Under general rhymes we have, these are common rhymes that we would notice, and in fact even in a normal conversation we usually use these without actually realizing that we are rhyming our words. The first one, syllabic. The last syllable of each word sounds the same, but does not necessarily contain the same vowels. So under syllabic, we do not have the same vowels. Let me put it in that way. We do not have the same vowels. I'm sure now you are able to differentiate between the consonants and the vowels. We know that the vowels are A, E, I, O, U, and we go according to the sound of the vowels. Keep that noted, because if we are not going according to the sound of the letters, we would make mistakes when we are coming to the understanding of rhyme here, because all the letters do not represent the same sounds that is usually expected. That is what we have here. So under vowel sound here, I'm sure you are aware that when we produce vowel sounds, it is without stopping the air in our throat. So that those are distinguished as vowel sounds. So think about it along the line of sounds instead of the alphabet or letters for that matter. So here under syllabic, it says here that it rhymes, but it does not necessarily contain the same vowels. We have here the example of cleaver and silver. So in this case here, if we take a look at it, now in some case you would find that the word silver does not rhyme with any other word. In some trivia you would find that. But in this case here, we are saying that it is a general rhyme. Why? Because take a look at it. If we count it, we have two syllable here, two syllable, and we are taking note of the case here. So that is the general rhyme for syllabic. And we are not focusing on the vowels, which means we are not focusing on these vowels, I, E, A, E, and so on. But we are more focused on the sound of these letters put together, cleaver and silver, and so on. So that is the general rhyme. I'm sure you are familiar with that. Now let's take a look at imperfect rhyme. So under imperfect rhyme, a rhyme between a stressed and between, you might want to underline that, between a stressed and an unstressed syllable. We already know what is stressed. When we prolong the sound, unstressed means it is said in a very short manner. So here the examples are wing and carrying. So when we say wing, we are stressing, carrying. Here, again, one syllable, one, two syllable. So in this case here, the difference here with the imperfect rhyme is that the syllables are not equal. Remember, taking the example of rhyme and sublime here, we have two syllable which is equal, but in the case of imperfect rhyme here, we are simply ending the last part of the sentence with one syllable that is rhyming. So the stress and unstressed, carrying wing, if you put it into in that way together, one is stressed and the other one is unstressed. So that is what we have under imperfect rhyme. So the first one is stressed, wing, and carrying. You don't have to say carrying. You don't stress it in that way. So that is the difference there. Then the next one we have here is semi-rhyme. As the name itself suggests, a half rhyme. A rhyme with an extra syllable on one word. Extra syllable on one word. So what do we have here? Bend and ending. Let me put it here. In this case here, we have an extra syllable here. So that is a semi-rhyme. In fact, imperfect rhyme can also be a semi-rhyme here. So I hope you would be able to differentiate that. Now the next one we have is oblique, an imperfect match in sound, such as if it does not rhyme at all, it is an oblique. We usually say that it is written in free verse, which means it does not have any rhyme or it does not have any rhyming scheme. So in this kind of case, when we say it is written in free verse, you would also find that it is in oblique. The syllables or the rhythm is oblique. An imperfect match in sound, we have some examples here very quickly. One. So if I say one, I'm ending that word with the syllable, the sound of N here, nasal. Whereas in the case of this, thumb, so that is completely different here. So that is an oblique, and we use it in free verse as well, even in our conversation, in fact. So the next one, that is assonance. Assonance here is very simple. Assonance and consonants are very simple. Matching vowels. If all the vowels or the sound that is produced in the word or the syllable, even the vowels are rhyming, if it's the same thing, then it is an assonance. Take the example of shake. Here is what we have here. And hate. We do not say head, we say hate, shake. So that is the same case with this vowel sound. So assonance has to do with the vowel sounds, whereas consonants has to do with the, I'm sure you are now able to figure out that it has more to do with the consonants. Consonants, matching consonants we have, in order to save time, I will just mention it here. We have the example of rabbis and robbers. So the syllable B is being repeated here. So that is consonants. Now, half rhyme or sprung rhythm consists of matching final consonants. When we are, supposing the lines are ending in such a way that the last syllable is ending with a consonant sound. In fact, not a consonant sound here, but matching final consonants. Bend and end. So the last sound that is being produced in this case here is the T sound, bend and end. So that is, we all know that T here is the consonant sound that is being produced. So that becomes our half rhyme or sprung rhyme. So that is what we have there. And now the final one, alliteration. So alliteration here is also known as head rhyme, and it consists of matching initial consonants. What does it mean here? We have the example of short and ship. In this case here, unlike the previous one which we have just discussed, the letters ending, consonant letters ending in the last syllable, we are taking a look at the repetitive sound of the consonants in the beginning part of the word. So here, S is the consonant, and when we say put it together, short ship, so that is the consonant sounds being repeated. So alliteration is to do with consonant sounds being repeated. So that is what we have here. Now, very quickly, I hope you would take time to go back to your poem there and try to figure out different kinds of rhymes there. And if you are still a little confused, you can start with your common nursery rhymes. That would give you a great help. So I hope you would take time to do that and have fun, enjoy it. Thank you all very much for joining me.